you would you think that people are doing in the name of health and that it's very good for their hair and skin, but this is the biggest disaster they are doing. But they think they're doing it because it is going to benefit their hair. What is it?
Well,
That they should stop doing if they're doing it. Welcome to Heal with Zainab, space where healing is not forced, rushed. In fact, it's felt. This is a space where science meets softness and healing is not overwhelmed but practical. So, from our season ones, the most viral video was about hair. That's why today hair has to look perfect, right? So I had to invite, I would love to though, but I still had to invite the same guest again. She doesn't need any introduction because I think that now she's everywhere, all over on social media. And people loved her last time, and there was not enough time to talk about. There's so many more things about hair. So we have hair and hormone coach, Dr. Manisha Pandit, with us again. Welcome back to season 2.
thank you, Z. Thanks for having
So
me.
last time it was amazing. We never knew that this energy would go. This I don't know. This we will be this adored. I would say. So there was a lot of good comments, and maybe it's because I think hair is something that everybody is suffering through it.
Yeah.
And last time we just talked, we touched base, just the basics of it, foundation of it is hair graying and hair falling and hair thinning, and you diagnosed most of it. So those people who hasn't watched yet the season 1 of my podcast with her, so you can go back and refer to that one first, because it's not like this is continuation of that, but this one is a little bit more advanced. We will go more deeper into it. So the first one was like just basic. This one we will tap more into perimenopause, because we all are going through it, right? And it's not a condition, it's not a disease or something, but I know that hair fall is majorly interlinked with perimenopause. So not wasting any time, let's start with that. First of all, what is perimenopause? Is it an age limit to it? Like, oh, it only starts after 35 or 38 or 40? Or is it like we all are in perimenopausal stage? And yeah, let's start with that, and then we will see that what comes with it.
So, to begin with, thank you for having me once again. And I hope that, we did bring a lot of value in the previous episode. And so will this episode be. I would say with awareness, we kind of clear a lot of confusion. And from that, people and women specifically, because that's the niche we are discussing mostly in this episode, they make better decisions, and that fear that women kind of get into at this stage and age of life just helps them navigate through it better. Coming to your question, what is perimenopause? Yes, it's not a disease. I think we should put it quote unquote, it's not a disease. Perimenopause is a transition that every woman will go through from her mid-30s up until 50s. Again, it's not an age-related thing. It's a very symptom-related thing. There are a lot of clients that I see in my practice now that are perimenopausal in their late 20s and sometimes early 30s as well. So it's a neuroendocrine transition, if I have to go much deeper in it. What happens is your brain and your ovaries are connected, right? Just like how you have the gut-brain axis, you have the ovarian brain axis. So your brain is constantly giving your ovaries a signal to secrete estrogen, progesterone, testosterone based on different phases of cycle that a woman is in. As we age, these hormones decline. Now, they are not declining because, your body does not need it. It's declining because your ovaries' primary function is to procreate, is to create, is
Okay.
to, reproduce.
Yeah.
And what is happening in today's times, there's a lot of women who are single are choosing to not probably get married, and most of them who are also married are choosing to stay childless. So I think with all these changes in the way we are living today, our brain and ovaries connection is a bit disconnected in a way that your progesterone and estrogen declines not just as a biological thing, but also as how we are living our lives. We live in a very fast-paced, adrenal-centric world
There's
today.
always a stress going on. But sorry to cut you here and then you complete it, what you're saying. But what if a person really chooses not to have a child? And what is it then? Like, does that mean that this is very unnatural for our ovaries, or we are still creating in some, maybe in our business we are creating something?
course.
The whole point is to create.
Right.
Doesn't matter, it has to be a child. It could be creation of any sort, because women are designed to create.
Yes.
Correct?
Of course. Again, as we say, like a woman is born with the biological clock, and that is not completely wrong. There is partial truth to it, because your body is in its prime condition to have a child or be the childbearing age. There again, I don't want anyone to quote me on this. I feel like a woman can still have a child at the age of 40, and in our clinical practice we have seen women conceiving at that age. But if you look at like evolutionary, women for many years have had children before a certain age.
Yeah.
Right? So your body is a very, your body does keep memory. It does, and we pass it on through our generation.
Yeah.
Right? So what's happening today is not just because women are not having children, but also because women are living from a very fast-paced, masculine-centric, adrenal-centric day-to-day life, which is making your body kind of go in a fight flight, in a stress related mode, but it is also telling the body that maybe she does not need so much estrogen progesterone every month.
So let me reduce it.
Yeah. It's a very it's a very deep thing, but if you look at it, that's why so many people are having problems in conceiving in today's times. People are experiencing perimenopausal symptoms way earlier than it used to be when your grandmother or my mother, when they were.
So in perimenopause, what exactly happened when it comes to the hormones? Estrogen levels decreases?
Yes.
Is it and progesterone?
No. So
Or is it
basically,
like-
in perimenopause, your hormones are declining, and they're not declining quietly. They're declining chaotically. So progesterone is the first one to decline. Estrogen kind of fluctuates very wildly in terms of 1 month it's high, the other month it's low. And then what happens is your progesterone has a very calming effect, right? It keeps your anxiety at bare minimum. But when you are losing progesterone, you are getting more anxious. And you will notice this as you're getting in your mid-30s to early 40s. You do tend to, cry at the drop of a hat. You get very depressed. You start feeling a little bit more deeply. And that is attributed to declining progesterone. This has calming effect. What happens by default? Your estrogen gets increased, even though it's not increasing wildly, but because your progesterone has decreased, the ratio between progesterone to estrogen is 500:1.
Wow.
But we are losing progesterone way faster. So what's happening is you're getting estrogen dominant by default, and estrogen has a very stimulatory effect. What it does is it builds more things. It builds a much thicker uterine lining, and that's why you will see changes in your periods. 1 month it is extremely heavy, and the other month
Even the body starts changing, you can see that. Yeah.
Yes, estrogen has receptors all over the body, from our mouth to our brain, to our breast, to our heart, our gut. That's why when estrogen is fluctuating so wildly, we will also notice something known as cortisol belly. A lot of women who have weight around the midsection area is attributed to estrogen dominance, yes, but that does not mean your estrogen is high. It's because your progesterone
Is
has
very
declined.
low. So even estrogen is low, but it seems like it's dominant because progesterone is so low. Yeah.
So
Okay.
it's a wild ride, and I think women need to understand their symptoms better so that they can. And you don't have a test to understand where if you have
You just need to
perimenopause.
observe your own symptoms. And what are those symptoms? Like the top 5 or top 7 that now you know, okay, this is what's happening.
There definitely is a hormonal fluctuation which is leading to brain fog. Not you have inability to sleep. You wake up like mid morning at around 3 a.m., 4 a.m. Hot flushes, weight gain, hair thinning, adult acne. The list goes on and on. And you also have neurological symptoms. Your cognition gets a bit slower. You start to forget things. You know, like you just entered a room and you can't remember that person's name. That's classic perimenopausal sign.
Oh, wow. Okay. And what to do about it? Can we reverse or can we push it further?
Again, perimenopause is not about, eliminating this transition, but just to get a little bit more in touch with your body so that you will take better actions. And actions means having a proper sleep routine. And I think I discussed this in the previous
Sleep
episode.
is the most underrated thing. Even in weight loss, nobody's talking about it. Everybody's focusing on exercise, food, or eat less and hormones.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot to talk about. But I feel that just do start doing one thing, sleeping at 9:30 or, and it's a significant difference in your weight loss. Even I feel that you're not working out or you should be working out.
Yeah.
But I feel sleep is so crucial.
I feel like our management to stress is, I think I would say it tops the list, because how I manage and how I respond to my stress effectively is gonna determine my cortisol levels. And just to give a context, what happens when we are constantly stressed, which means I am operating more from my adrenals, being adrenal centric. There's a precursor of cortisol, which is known as pregnenolone. The pregnenolone is responsible to make your other reproductive hormones like estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, and it also makes cortisol. So when you're not able to manage your stress effectively, this pregnenolone is constantly getting converted to cortisol. What does that mean?
Wow.
Your pregnenolone by default lowers to make more progesterone, estrogen, which is your life-giving hormones in perimenopause. So I would say after sleep, manage your stress effectively, because this will directly impact the ratio of progesterone to estrogen in your blood. And we need 500 times more progesterone than estrogen. But for that to happen, I need pregnenolone in sufficient quantities to first of all synthesize them, right? And when we do this more effectively, whether it is sleeping on time, having a spiritual hygiene, whether it is breathing hard, because when you really breathe into your belly, you become more into your parasympathetic. But that's not just making you in your parasympathetic, it's also making you more ovarian centric. You know, a lot of women, when they do like breath work and they combine it with, like, say, a womb healing session or a womb steaming session, they just come into their bodies.
Yes. Yeah.
A lot of women are experiencing perimenopausal symptoms also because there is disconnection from the body, because they're not able to comprehend their emotions very well. So managing stress, having good sleep will make you more ovarian centric. And when you are ovarian centric, that brain and ovary connection that I spoke about, when your brain is telling your ovaries to make these hormones, it'll actually do the job.
Okay, so mainly it's linked to the stress.
Of course.
Learn how to manage stress.
Stress is everything's enemy.
But again, not right now, though there is so much to talk about. There's meditation, there's this, that you do, and everybody's somehow trying their own way to manage stress.
Yeah.
But still, I feel that most people are like failing to do so, and this is something like we have to live with it. But other than stress, in terms of diet or
Yeah.
lifestyle, like seed cycling is there.
Of
Do you think
course.
it is helpful?
Cycle syncing is something that every girl, even when she's in her reproductive years, starting from her teenage years, should start something known as cycle syncing. Cycle syncing is nothing but adjusting your lifestyle, your food, your workouts in and around your menstrual
Around your
cycle.
menstrual cycle, yeah.
Right? Cycle syncing is definitely, I would say, a savior for a lot of women who will experience very hard symptoms when they get in perimenopause. They can save themselves from having these symptoms. Again, your diet needs to be very, very high. I wouldn't say very, very high, but it needs to have a substantial amount of protein. because not only is your protein important to synthesize hair, which is made of keratin, and we need keratin to make hair in a much more healthy, effective way, we also need protein to maintain our muscle tone. Estrogen receptors, they're all present all over our body. So when we have a good tonicity in our muscles, we are creating these hormones everywhere in the body, not just in our ovaries, right? So I think a diet high in protein and balancing your macros. Carbohydrates are not your enemy. Having
You
complex
just need
carbs.
to balance it out. Yeah.
Having complex carbs, having protein in every meal, and make sure 1/3 of your meal has some amount of lean protein in it, because that is the building block of your skeletal, your musculoskeletal structure. And in perimenopause, you know the joint pains that our moms used to complain?
Yes, yeah.
It's happening.
Now it's happening in 20s, leave 20s and teenagers.
Yeah.
Like literally they're screaming when they're getting up, and I'm like, my God, you're just 18, 19 years old and you have back pain and joint pain.
Yes.
It is alarming.
Yes.
Yeah.
So sleep, stress, diet. And the last thing I would say that it's not talked much about, but hormone replacement therapy is, I would say, one of the most advanced researches that is coming to light now, because HRT was kind of given a very bad rep in I would say, when the study started in 1993.
It's got a lot of controversy around
Yes.
HRT, this hormone replacement therapy. And why do you think it is? Because they use synthetic, again, hormones and stuff. So,
Yeah. So if I have to take you back to history, there was an initiative by the NIH. They had funded this study, Women Health Initiative. And they had actually put about more than 150,000 women on this study, on a clinical trial. And mind you, they were all postmenopausal women. They were between the ages of 50 to 70. What does that mean? Most of them did not even have the optimal levels of hormones for a very long time. And they were used in this clinical trial, and they were administered a lot of hormones. I'll come to the synthetic part a bit, but they had to stop this study prematurely because in the interim of this clinical trial, a lot of women were found to have kind of more predisposition to heart diseases and breast cancer. And this result was then blown out of proportion. And not just people like you and I, but even health practitioners stopped recommending hormone replacement therapy as a part of a normal protocol for perimenopausal women. And not only were they postmenopausal, they were administered synthetic hormones.
okay.
So this study was not, in fact, they did not give the right anecdote in terms of what went wrong and what could have been done better for the study to have better results. And I think women have been put in clinical trials only 30 years ago. Before this,
Yeah, exactly.
all
Yeah.
the clinical trials were based on men. Hormone therapy is getting more main stage limelight because recently FDA approved testosterone as a hormone replacement therapy for women. Because for many years, it was being approved for men. Men have been taking hormones for decades.
For decades, yeah.
But women have been kind of kept away from this because there wasn't enough data to say that they need these hormones, not just to perform their normal functions, but also to thrive. I mean, look at our 9 to 5
I think
scenario.
the issue comes in here actually because now women, life is very different. We are no longer, belong to that structure like how it used to before. Now we have 9 to 5 job. We want to be a perfect mothers and perfect homemakers
Yeah.
and perfect employee. You want a CEO. You have so much that it is causing so much stress to your body. So, so you feel that it is working. HRT there's no harm in going and getting it done.
Actually, based on this study, which was prematurely ended in July 2002, results of these women were showed as 33% of them had a reduction in the risk of hip fracture.
Okay.
Even though they were synthetic hormones, even though they were postmenopausal, even though they did not have any optimal levels of hormones, although they had some other existing conditions as well. So even in this study, which was so flawed, 37% of them had a decreased risk of colorectal cancer. there were reduction in menopausal symptoms. Apart from the other things where there was increased risk of breast cancer, heart diseases, and death from these synthetic hormones, this study likely created this kind of, I would say, like someone saw the light at the end of a tunnel and kind of showed that, listen, there were some positive responses with this study, but unfortunately, the part where heart diseases and breast cancer was just blown out of proportion. And now, I think in the last couple of, I would say, decades, people have been considering bioidentical hormones to kind of replace the hormones that your body is not able to synthesize. And because of this, people are now getting more open to it, but we still need more conversation around this topic, because up until like 2 months ago, a lot of my clients feared HRT. They were like, no, we want to create hormones naturally.
Yeah, this is what I always think as well, that why we have to use the mimical hormones when we can create naturally.
Have you heard of the concept of getting adaptogens in your diet? Are they natural?
That's also true. I mean, what you're saying.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay.
They are
That
not
makes-
natural, but the
Yeah.
bioidentical hormones are literally the same hormones your body is synthesizing, and they're getting replaced by these hormones. It's the most natural thing a woman can do to, I would say, to lessen her symptoms and live her best life, not just in perimenopause years, but also beyond.
That's interesting, actually. Yeah, because there's a lot of talk about this, whether to get it or not to get it. I think when any new thing is introduced, new treatment, people take some time to adopt to it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of what to do. We don't know. People get feared about it. Okay, so coming to now our main topic, which is also hair. I mean, we do touch hormones as well because they are interlinked.
Interlinked.
Hair and hormones go together. So if you have a hair issue, definitely there's some hormones chaos
For
going on
sure.
inside the body. I want to use, and people want to use, people want to know, not use, people want to know that what shampoo do you use?
Me?
Do you believe in using shampoos? Do you just use baking soda and vinegar on your hair? Or do you have any sulfate-free shampoos? And what is your opinion on sulfate-free shampoos? Or what do you do to your hair to wash it?
I mean, my first protocol in hair wash is to always protect my hair strands with a substantial amount of oil. And I don't say dump your hair and scalp with oil, but some sort of protection before you wash your hair is critical. And it's primarily because whenever you wash your hair, your shampoo, or any shampoo for that matter, I will come to sulfate and sulfate-free shampoos, but every time you wash your hair, you are stripping away a layer of natural oils from your hair shaft, which keeps your hair strands moisturized. So when you're protecting it with an oil, what you're basically doing with shampoo is you're just taking out the oil which you have applied, retaining the natural oils of
Natural
your
oil.
hair shaft.
So hair oiling before shampoo is essential.
It's essential.
It's crucial.
It's
I remember
crucial.
I spoke to you regarding that, and I told you that I don't have time to. I find it too lazy to massage. I mean, I know that I grew up in a country or a household where oiling is the must thing. We used to do it.
Yes.
But then I stopped, because I always like somebody else to do it for me. I'm too lazy to do it for myself. So I don't. But then I remember you told me that no, just even for 15, 20 minutes, just right before shampooing your hair wash, you have to do it.
Yes.
And that works because when I used to think that, okay, if I need to do hair wash, then hair oil has to be on my hair at least for 3-4 hours.
No.
But even 20-25 minutes works because now it makes sense because it protects your
Hair shaft.
hair shaft.
Because you need a little bit of hydration from within your hair shaft to keep it moisturized. See, hair is not just about having more hair. You also want to have the hair that you are having is in a good shape, has good luster, good shine, because you also want to be able to manage your hair. You won't be able to manage a dry, frizzy hair with brittle ends, split ends. First of all, it doesn't look good to the eyes, and also you will not ever feel good when hair that is not silky enough, straight enough, or I would say just soft enough, because it's constantly touching your scalp, and scalp is an extension of your skin. So you want to make sure that it is hydrated at all times. And washing your hair is very subjective. Like if you have thick or coarse hair like mine, I wouldn't mind using a sulfate containing shampoo at least once a month because it really helps you cleanse your scalp of all the product buildup. that you have been using.
So sulfate-free shampoo is not your enemy.
It's
like
not an
how
enemy, yeah. But if you use sulfate-free shampoo every single day and every time you wash your hair, it is going to strip away the natural oils because it has surfactants. Surfactants have a detergent-like property.
Okay.
Right? So that's why we don't want to do it every time, but once a month to get
It's
the
okay.
build-up off. Because see, the premise of your hair growth is having a clean canvas. Your hair follicles need to be able to breathe. They need to be clean so that whatever hair is growing out is of a much healthier quality. So I would say use a sulfate-free, paraben-free shampoo most of the times and maybe a sulfate-containing shampoo once a month.
And how frequently we should wash?
Again, it's a very subjective thing. It depends on your lifestyle. If you're working out every day, like I do hot yoga 2 to 3 times a week, so I definitely wash my hair twice a week. But if someone who does not have a very active lifestyle, which I don't think should be acceptable, everyone should have an active lifestyle. Yeah, because we need that blood flow to our scalp as well, and an active lifestyle helps you do that. But yeah, if you are somebody who does not really do hot classes every day, once a week is a good enough time to wash your hair. But again, if someone has really oily scalp, a sebaceous gland which is super active and making your hair strands very oily, they can wash their hair every other day. And the condition being the shampoo needs to be a little bit mild and gentle.
So any shampoo is okay, you're saying, just it has to be mild.
For an oily scalp, yeah.
Okay, but so sulfate-free is preferable.
Yeah. Also, there's a concept of ketoconazole shampoos. They have DHT blockers, which are incredible for people who have hair thinning and, as I said, oily scalp. This can prevent the sebaceous glands from secreting oil on a regular basis. So I would say use a sulfate-free shampoo most of the time, a sulfate-containing shampoo once a month, and a ketoconazole, which has DHT blocking properties, every other day if you have oily scalp.
Only if you have oily scalp.
Yeah, mostly. Because,
Okay.
yeah, in perimenopause, that's another thing that happens. Not only does your estrogen and progesterone decline, your androgens can increase. When your androgens increase, which is your male sex hormone, which is testosterone and or DHEA, what happens is testosterone gets converted to DHT, and DHT, which I spoke in the last episode, has the affinity to your hair follicles. In perimenopause, the receptivity of your hair follicles to DHT increases. So
Okay.
you see a lot of more hair thinning in perimenopause than your other years. So incorporating these shampoos will help a woman in her perimenopause years.
Yeah, makes sense. In last season, we spoke about how hairstyling is damaging our hair, how we make our hair like really tightening that and making a bun and all. But now let's talk about practical life that we are living in.
Yeah.
We are living in a lifestyle where we want to have a really nice hair. We want to look good. We want to socialize. And now blow dry is a very crucial part in a modern city where women are working and socializing. So now how to keep up those styling game on while not damaging your hair? We'll also, maybe you can talk about this air drying is there or blow drying is there. So airbrush or which styling products we should use that can minimize the damage.
So air drying versus blow drying, I would prefer blow drying my hair. I would say when you come out of your shower and you allow your hair to dry naturally, what you're basically doing is you're creating a fabulous environment for your yeast to feed on. Our scalp naturally has this yeast called molasses. This feeds on damp, moist environment. And this one, if you let your hair dry, with air,
naturally, okay.
naturally, this yeast is gonna feed. It's like it's a breeding ground for this yeast.
But then in olden times when they had no dryers and stuff, how they used to dry their hair? Wasn't it the natural way when they used to take shower like many centuries
I would
back?
say like many centuries ago, we were also not exposed to the environmental toxins the way
like
we are
how
today.
we are, yeah.
So this kind of accelerates the yeast to feed on this environment, and that's why you see flakiness, dandruff, seborrheic dermatitis, premature breakage, because let's face it, your hair is in its weakest state when it is wet. And when you rub your hair, again, which I think I spoke about it last time, you need to just towel dry, like, just pat your hair off the excess water, wait for like 70 to 80% of the hair to dry naturally, and then use a blow dry at like a cool to medium temperature and move it at a distance, keeping it at a distance from your hair, and move it several times so that it's not concentrating the heat on one part.
On one part, yeah.
You don't want localized heat. We want to have a very dispersive mechanism when we're blow drying our hair. But blow drying, hands on.
Is okay.
Yeah. Blow dry over
That
air
heat
drying.
that doesn't damage the hair, especially if you
So that's why I said medium to low temperature
Is
setting.
okay.
Medium to low temperature setting. Keep it at a distance and keep moving it. So there is no localized heat on one part of your hair follicle. Yeah.
And when it comes to styling products like gel back your hair, hairsprays, I know that even if you have to use it, don't use it as frequently.
Yeah.
But what else in there?
See, I would say like in terms of having a good head of hair in your perimenopause years and beyond, have protective hairstyles.
And what are those protective
hairstyles?
3 the most beautiful red carpet, office, or whatever hairstyles that you would recommend that you can easily do it without damaging your hair.
Protective hairstyle would be just leave your hair loose, just like how you and I have done right now.
Yeah, least
right?
damage done. Yeah.
Or you can use a claw clip instead of those hair bands, because hair bands tend to strangulate your hair follicles at the root. So that can be another protective hairstyle. Refrain from those, those hairstyles which take your hair back.
Yeah.
This causes traction alopecia. Hair thinning is like hairline recession is a very common sign of perimenopausal women. So protective hairstyles at that age and stage of your life is crucial. Hairsprays, hairstyling gels. See, I would say like we also got to live a little bit. Here and there once in a while is okay. Just don't do them every day.
No, it shouldn't be a part of your life.
It shouldn't be a part of your life.
That's
but yeah,
true.
say like when you're going out and you have a...
Unless you are in the profession of modeling and acting where that's the requirement every single day, that's again, that's too much.
For someone who's in this kind of an industry where hairstyling is done every day, I would say their hair routine and hair care should be at least 10 times.
10 times more than us.
Yes. Oiling hair, getting deep condition masks, and making sure that your scalp is clean, because a lot of styling products create a buildup, and that buildup is what makes your hair eventually not grow, because we are signaling our hair follicles to go in the rest and the shedding phase. Right?
And what about this baby hair? Because I have struggled with this all my life. I love this hair buns that you're saying, but whenever I make this, I have to really look at this small hair which doesn't grow. The thing is why it doesn't grow. My growth is amazing in the rest of my head.
Yeah.
But why this line does not have enough hair growth?
I just answered your question. Hairline thinning, hairline recession in perimenopause years is very common. And it does not just start with hair loss. It starts with hair thinning.
So is it perimenopausal related, or it's also I don't know, when you are 20s
It depends
or
on your
teens?
lifestyle. See, I would say like DHT is definitely an age-related thing in perimenopause. But if you are someone who's not having a good lifestyle, you are eating sugar and carbs at the drop of a hat, what it's basically doing is it's increasing the insulin spike in your blood. What happens when you have insulin spike? There's something known as sex hormone binding globulin. It kind of dips. It makes your receptivity to androgens high. What happens? I already told you, testosterone will get converted to DHT. So it's basically a metabolic thinning which is happening if you are not in your perimenopausal years. But yes, if you're in your perimenopausal years and if you do not really have a very disciplined lifestyle and you are also having an androgen excess, it's like a disaster for hairline thinning. It's not baby hair. It's actually hair which is growing out of a hair follicle that has miniaturized over the years.
We have few products which I want you to comment on it, that which one we should say yes to it or which one we should say no.
All right.
Right? So, because people really use it for their hair. We have biotin and omega-3.
Well, I would say over biotin and omega-3, go for an omega-3 supplement.
Okay.
A lot of people think like biotin is for the hair
For the
growth.
hair, yes.
Yeah, it's such
You need to give explanation why not biotin.
See, I truly feel in the world of hair and hormones, we live in an avenue of misinformation, right?
Yes.
Biotin can only work if you have the deficiency of biotin, which is incredibly rare. Omega-3, on the other hand, you have your good fats. And how do you make your hormones? When you have a foundation for fats, right? And always make sure your omega-3 has the EPA and DHA in a constitution of about 800 milligram. That is a good quality omega-3. And you need anybody who's not having hair thinning or, it just wants to maintain good hair, please opt for an omega-3 over a biotin.
And omega-3 is not only hair, it's like hair, skin,
Heart,
nails, it's everything. So yeah,
Exactly.
always. But that's the one thing, like please, biotin is only when you are deficient. No, don't use it for any other thing. That's not a very difficult answer, even I can tell. So Mantra or almond oil?
I would say, especially the almond oil which you are having in your hand is in
Yeah.
a transparent glass bottle.
Yes.
And always read the labels, I'd say. This has more mineral oil than almond oil.
Yeah.
So that's a big no. But yeah, Mantra, which is hand-curated Ayurvedic oils. All the oils are cold
And it has
pressed.
so many. How many oils actually you use in Mantra?
Oh, more than 15. So it's,
Okay, that's amazing.
it's very important when you read the labels of a product, they have cold pressed oils, which means it has been extracted under controlled temperature, which means it has kept the molecular structure of every ingredient intact. And when the molecular structure is intact, it can penetrate your scalp better and give you effective results.
But what does exactly mineral oil do? So like when you said that whenever we buy any oil just to put on your hair and skin, so in ingredients, it's always, please check if there's no mineral oil in it, because mineral oil does exactly
It's
what?
toxic.
It's toxic for your hair.
Yeah, oxidative stress. Why do you think so many people have premature hair graying? I think we discussed this in the previous episode. Premature hair graying primarily happens because of the oxidative stress in the body, which doesn't allow your melanocytes to make enough melanin. And a lot of people who are using mineral oil thinking that it's healthy, it's actually a breeding ground for oxidative stress. Again, stress, smoking, not sleeping on time are other contributing factors to it.
So yeah, that's why most people sometimes like, no, but we do put oil, nothing is happening. But yeah, what quality of oil you're putting, that
So
is also
important.
so important.
Always make sure it's in a dark colored bottle, because the transparent glasses allow the light
Oxidizes
to
and yeah.
it allows the light to penetrate, which oxidizes the oil.
Oxidizes. Okay, so we have red light and we have this massager, like scalp massager.
So I would definitely get the scalp massager off
Out, and you'll choose this one.
because I prefer using the power of my own fingertips
Okay.
to stimulate the hair follicles. Remember we spoke about how the fibroblasts get activated and then
Yes.
kind of make those hair follicles make new hair strands. Red light, on the other hand, has the ability to penetrate and activate the mitochondria.
So how do you use this red light actually? You put this here on your hair?
Yeah, you can just, I'll show it to you
Yeah.
how I use it. It actually has a cap for encompassing this entire structure.
Oh.
So then it goes on my scalp like this.
So you can
And
also use it on your skin?
I use it on my face. I use it on my jaw. I use it on my belly after I've done a castor oil pack,
Yeah.
because the penetration is much faster. It kind of makes your mitochondria alive. What does mitochondria do? It creates ATP. What does that do? Generate energy. Hair is energetic.
ATP is everything. It's in
I mean-
every single cell of your body is making mitochondria
So-
and having an ATP, yeah.
So with this red light, we are activating the powerhouse of your cell to make new cells. And what happens when you're creating new cells? You're creating new organs. Like when we kind of fast for like 3 days in a row, we are literally making new mitochondrial cells.
And for how long we have to keep it on your hair or skin?
You can keep it for 10 to 15 minutes every day.
Every single day.
If time permits. But just
Can I see
combining this with your regular hair routine rituals.
So is it like any particular ritual? Like first we need to put oil
I like to do it with my
and
oil.
then you put this red light,
Just
right?
allows the penetration of the product better.
Okay. So basically what red light is helping with is generating more ATP in your mitochondria.
That's true.
Which is amazing. I never knew that.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that there are so many people now using the red light, but I never knew the importance. Okay, I thought it's a new fad that has come up, and it's getting, because now this industry is also commercial. So now everybody is just putting this red light mask. But I never knew that, okay, the red light also plays a crucial role.
You need to definitely make sure where you are buying your stuff from. See, there is a lot being sold on the market today in the name of wellness, discernment, and knowing who is recommending the products, and understanding a little bit of a history of the founder and the company makes a huge difference. I mean, people are...
How do we know that? Because you're right. That's what I'm saying. This red light, now people know that, okay, this is in demand.
Yeah.
Now, we don't know what they're selling in the name of red light. It could be some China red battery light inside. And so how do we know that which one to buy? How do you do your research?
I do my research based on trying and testing the products. I truly believe... See, there is something known
Which
as...
one are you using? Which brand is that? You can
that's-
use that. I mean,
Yeah, I'll probably put it in the show notes below so that, our clients can, our listeners can go and do their own due diligence. I'm not recommending anything, not because, they're paying me anything. There's no paid sponsorship here. It's just about me having done my due diligence. And there's also something known as lived experience. A lot of people today go to specialists and experts. That's one thing, yes. But there are also people who speak from their lived experience of recommending
Yes.
products, telling us about the hair tips.
especially if you are living a life of certain lifestyle you have, like suppose if we are in health and wellness and we have been eating, for example, quinoa, right? Not many people are having it, but suppose we are eating quinoa over rice or any kind of organic milk, and I've been doing it for like 10 years, 15 years, then I will know that, okay, no, don't buy this brand of quinoa, but because I've been eating it for all my life, or you have been, having coconut milk or almond
Yeah.
milk. So you do your research as compared to someone who just started it.
Yeah.
So you've been into this hair and,
Yes.
so you must have done your research and you know exactly which brand, and that's why I think people are going to rely on you, what you are
course.
saying and which brand to use.
Yeah.
And again, coming to the supplements, what about rosemary oil? Because that's also quite hype up now. Like rosemary oil is great for your hair. And
Yeah.
what is your take on that?
So, see, rosemary oil, I would say, is not a magic solution as it has been made out of on social media over the last few years. There's very few clinical trials that were done on rosemary, and I would not even consider them as a study that I can fall back on, because it was done on a very random group of people, and they were made to use rosemary twice in a day. And I don't know who uses oil twice a day to see the results. But having said that, for me, oiling is a very neurological, it has very neurological benefit. So just the act of massaging oils on your hair and scalp puts you in a state of rest and relax. It's very hard to say if it was the rosemary oil that made the hair grow, or
But is it because you were in a very relaxed state of mind and your parasympathetic system was activated?
Yeah, so it's very hard to say, but yeah, I would say it's not the magic solution.
Okay, 3 things before we conclude that you would, you think that people are doing in the name of health, and that it's very good for their hair and skin, but this is the biggest disaster they are doing. But they think they're doing it because it is going to benefit their hair. What is it?
Well,
that they should stop doing if they're doing it.
I would just say tight hairstyles. I think that
Okay.
comes at the top of my head. And the second one is having biotin, thinking that it is actually helping them grow hair. And the third thing is...
What is the damage it's doing if suppose they're not deficient, they're still having biotin?
It's going unabsorbed from your body. Your kidney is just gonna,
Be more
excrete
exhausted,
it, excrete it unabsorbed, and you're just bombarding yourself with something that your body does not need. It's just extra work and extra load to filter it out of your system. And the third thing I would say is people when they sleep with wet hair.
Oh, yeah.
I think
So we shouldn't be taking shower right before sleeping.
We should see
Unless we dry it.
As I said, like wet hair is a breeding ground for yeast, and when you are sleeping, imagine it's in its weakest state, and then you're kind of like brushing against the pillow. It's going to cause more breakage, and it's going to create more buildup on your scalp.
This makes a lot of sense because now you're saying it. So when I was in Azerbaijan and in many, many cultures, not only that country, and I never understood it, they really look down if you take shower and you immediately go out.
Yeah.
And I never understood why. What's a big deal? And they were like it's, and they really make a big deal. Why you're going out? Your hair is wet. I'm like, it's okay. Like, it's fine. It's hot. Now I understand.
Yeah, Ayurvedically speaking, it increases your kapha. And it
Yes.
also increases your vata,
Yeah.
which in turn makes your hair follicle weak.
Go weak. And now you're saying because you're exposing your wet hair to the environmental toxins
Yes.
outside. So they never knew the logical answer to convince me. But now it makes a lot of sense that why ancient wisdoms and ancient culture discourage that.
Yeah.
That don't go out with a wet
But
hair.
also the temperature difference. Like, look at now that I'm sitting in an air condition. If my hair was wet, my hair would actually get on all the moisture from this air condition, which is an artificial air, into my hair and scalp. More oxidative stress. Oxidative stress is the premise for any damage that happens on a surface level. Internally, of course, we've spoken about hormones, nutrition, diet, your other lifestyle activities. But hair only grows from a very synergistically balanced life.
And maybe same is true for covering your hair immediately after the same. The yeast will grow definitely
Oh yeah, but
way
the
more.
women who wear hijab, like, make sure that your hair is completely dry and you're not using polyester or those
Yeah.
which is not breathable fabric. It needs to be silk. I know
The
it's
quality
lips.
of fabric is very...
But
or maybe cotton, pure
cotton is good
yeah.
because it allows your hair follicles to breathe through. I would say ideally it would be a silk bonnet, but I know it slips and a lot of people still don't know how to manage that. Yeah.
And I know that we always ask this question in the last one. We also talked about it. But one thing, again, you can repeat if you want to, because sometimes we like to listen again and again till we really get it. One thing you would say that, like, immediately just start doing it. It's never too late to start this, which is very good for your hair. Okay, maybe supplements you can't afford, or this you can't afford, red light you can't afford. But this one thing you can do it at home, just start doing it right away. Make it a priority. If you're having menopausal symptoms or serious hair loss or hair thinning, start doing it right away.
I would say get a blood test done. A lot of people sit at home and start guessing this is alopecia, this is less iron, low
How do we
vitamin
know
D.
that what blood test to get done for alopecia, for hair thinning, for, like, what is the major ones?
There's a gold standard complete blood panel test that every dermatologist, every endocrinologist.
And in that blood panel, what are the signs that, okay, I have this hair issues?
So first of all, the complete blood panel includes your ferritin count. It includes your vitamin D, B12s, your thyroid panel. A lot of endocrinologists and doctors are not ordering a full thyroid panel.
They just got like TSH and that's it, and that doesn't show the exact amount.
Because as we get in perimenopause, our thyroid becomes sluggish. Hypothyroid often goes misdiagnosed or even underdiagnosed.
Yes,
right?
that happens to so many women. Yeah.
And especially in perimenopause, why thyroid is important is because your thyroid is not just governing the metabolism of your entire body, but it is also governing the development of every hair follicle. So getting a complete thyroid panel is so critical. And I think with this video, I want to make this awareness with your listeners, with our listeners, to have a complete thyroid panel requested anytime and every time they're getting a blood work done for the hair thinning, because classic sign of hypothyroid or hypothyroid is hair fall and hair shedding.
Okay, so if these tests are not normal, means that is the answer for why your hair loss is
I would say
going crazy.
the only thing I would say, like, for people in perimenopause with hair thinning is please test, don't guess, because this is a transition which is very wild, very erratic, very chaotic. You need to have data to come to a very well established solution.
This is amazing. Okay, like always, we had quite an interesting conversation, and if you guys do have any more questions that you think that, this topic we have missed talking about hair, or there's other issues about hair that, or even hormones that you feel that, she should be shedding light on, please let me know in comments so we would love to talk about it maybe in season 3. So thank you so much, Manisha, for coming and your valuable wisdom like always.
Thank you. Thank you for
so
having
much.
me. Thank you.